Welcome to Breakdown. It's June 20th, 2023. JJ, NBA draft is in a couple of days.
2 days away. You ready for it?
On Thursday. I'm ready. SEC and Big Ten. Got a lot of guys potentially getting drafted.
I got a few guys. We're going to talk about it. But if you notice, we're in a different location than normal.
Indeed we are. Tell me about it.
Instead of your house, we're at my house.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're gonna play it at your place.
Okay.
And
we can do a home and home series. It's my home court this week.
Okay. Your home court. You want to take over?
No, we'll let you lead.
Oh, okay. The NBA draft. That's what we're gonna talk about.
Sure.
JJ, just potentially last year, which conference was better in basketball? SEC or Big Ten?
SEC went a little bit further. I think they had.
I'm not asking who went further in the tournament. No, I'm just wondering.
Honestly, both of them were disappointing, but I guess you could say I guess I'll go SEC. Alabama was the best. I mean, I think that they played the best, the Big team that year. I think
So, who's gonna win the draft, the first round draft, this coming Thursday? SEC or Big Ten?
Depends on what you mean by winning. I think the SEC should have the highest drafted player, Brandon Miller. Alabama, the presumptive number 2 to 3 pick.
Okay.
But I think the Big Ten might have just as many or maybe even more people selected in the first round.
I agree. I went to NBA.org and did their mock draft.
NBAdraft.org?
Yes, I'm sorry. And they had an equal number of first round, potentially first round picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both conferences having 6 potential first round picks. So 6 out of how many picks are in the first round?
There's 30 teams, 30 picks.
Okay, and so they have 12. Not quite almost, but they have a really good representation.
That's 40%. 12 out of 30, that's 40%.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
No.
Okay, JJ, let's talk about some specifics. You want to talk about teams, or you want to talk about players?
Well, let's go players.
Okay.
First off, where do you think Brandon Miller might go? Obviously, we all know who San Antonio's going to be taking first.
Well, they're projecting Charlotte.
Charlotte is Michigan.
Okay. North
Charlotte.
Carolina, Michigan. It's spelled the same way, and so I sometimes get them confused, but they're pronounced differently.
Yeah.
So Charlotte. A good fit?
Yeah, I think he would be a perfect fit. I think Brandon Miller is the type of player that'd be a perfect fit with any team.
Okay.
I think he has that positional versatility, that inside, outside game. He's 6'10", smooth. He reminds me of Paul George.
Now, do you think he will go ahead of Scoot Henderson?
Well, you can't teach height. Brandon Miller, I guess he's 6'9", listed at 6'9". Scoot Henderson's listed at 6'2". Scoot has the athleticism. He has the work ethic. Everyone raised by his work ethic and how much he loves the game. But at 6'2", you can't really impact it that way unless you are, generational at a specific category, like the way Steph Curry is at shooting. I don't know what Scoot is at that level. I mean, he's a super athlete.
What was AI? What was he great at? The answer.
His quickness.
Okay. All right. You know what? I agree with you. I would pick and Scoot. I didn't get to see much of him because he didn't play in college.
No, he went the G League route.
He did.
More money up front, but your brand doesn't develop the same way. You don't have a lot of little kids that identify with
That's
the school
true.
that align with you and everything like that.
And he's not on TV as much. People don't see him. So, based on what I've seen, though, to me, Miller is the guy.
Yeah. The only other question I have to ask is that dark cloud that kind of hung over the latter half of his season. How long, if at all, will that potentially hang over him as an NBA?
And we don't know that. I think it would be once this the trial and stuff is behind him, I do believe it will begin to become a moot issue.
Yeah.
It will still be there, but I don't think it would be like it was in college, and I think it really impacted him the last couple of college games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way they flamed out in the tournament, I think you could really tell like how you know
Yeah.
how the entire team was probably fatigued by all the chatter at that point.
Well, Alabama got another player potentially in the first round.
Yeah,
Noah Clowney.
Noah Clowney, yeah, power forward center.
Yeah. Projected to go 21. NBADraft.com.
Yeah, he might go that high. I could see him going in the top 20, top 25. I mean, he has raw athleticism. He has a lot of skill. He has a lot of ability that he wasn't really on display. I mean, that's kind of like the Alabama way for the most part.
Yeah.
If you remember, what's his name, J.D. Miller the year before. I mean, I think Brandon Miller's the exception to the rule.
Exactly.
I think you have to like play a specific way in Alabama's system. Like it's a run and shoot, like threes and layups all the time, and like you have to really play a specific role. So I think he has a lot more potential than he was able to show at Alabama, and I would love for him to
I agree.
go to the right situation. What do you think about him?
Well, I agree. I just said Nate Oates made an exception with Brandon Miller.
Yeah, he just had like that.
You had to, though.
Generational talent.
You had to. But JJ, SEC, first round picks, Brandon Miller, Alabama, Anthony Black, guard from Arkansas.
Yeah, let's talk about him for a little bit.
Well, let me just run down the six first, potentially. We will come back to Anthony Miller. Cason Wallace, Anthony Black, I'm sorry. Cason Wallace, Kentucky. Nick Smith, Arkansas, another Arkansas. We just mentioned Noah Clowney. And the last one, G.G. Jackson, the freshman phenom from South Carolina. Those are the potential first rounders. Seems like Arkansas had two of them in there. Let's go with the first one.
Honestly, I would have thought you would have heard one of the names a little bit earlier, but we'll get back to Nick Smith in a minute.
Anthony Black.
Anthony Black, he's supposed to go in the top 10. He has very high basketball IQ. He comes from a basketball family. He has a very high basketball IQ. He has underrated athleticism. He has great positional versatility, defensive awareness, et cetera, but what he does not have is the jump shot.
Don't forget, he has the height.
He has the height, but he does not have a jump shot.
He doesn't have it yet.
And he doesn't look. I mean, I've never seen anyone start from the point that he's at that got to.
You ever heard of a guy called Magic?
I've heard of Magic Johnson, yeah.
You should have seen his jump shot in college.
Yeah.
But he developed a really, really, really good jump shot in the NBA in my mind. But no, Anthony Black, very versatile, offensively, defensively. He can play the point. He can guard the shooter, the two. Great instincts. I like him a lot. You said a top 10 pick. He will be. The other guy from Arkansas. Let's talk about him.
He was, supposed to be the best, college player to come out. He was supposed to be like a lock, top 5 pick. But Nick Smith Jr. ran into health issues, and which led to confidence issues and productivity issues. And he, his freshman year wasn't what I think anybody in Arkansas it's expected. I mean, Arkansas went to their third straight Sweet 16, but I don't think that they went there in the fashion in which they.
The health issues really slowed him down. It was the knee issue that he had, and he missed many games. When he came back, the team had pretty much already developed a chemistry, and he didn't. By the time he came back late in the season, his chemistry just didn't improve the team, which is bad for him because he does have the skills and talent according to the experts, because he's going to be projected to be drafted top 20 player.
And he came back into a very tough situation because, for all intents and purposes, Devo Davis was the leader of the team, but Ricky Council, was leading scorer in the SEC when he came back.
True.
Anthony Black was showing why he was going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
There was all these players like Jordan Walsh had to take a step back. There was all these players that were flourishing at the guard position, and Devo was the leader, the heart and soul of the team. Ricky Council was scoring like in bunches, and Anthony Black was getting it done. It was hard to get him where he fits in, and he's a 6'5" shooting guard, but he was playing a lot smaller than that. He was
I agree.
He wasn't getting to the rim. He wasn't finishing. He wasn't pushing the issue. Honestly, Ricky Council's a little bit smaller than him, but he was playing a lot bigger than Nick Smith Jr. You would have thought he was the projected top 5 pick, but
And Ricky Council is projected second round pick.
Yeah.
He's a guard. Let's talk about the other guy from Arkansas really quick before we move on to some other. Jordan Walsh.
yeah,
He was projected to be really, really quick pick when he came out of high school.
yeah,
He didn't produce.
he was an elite 5-star.
Yeah. But he said something at the camp that it made me wonder, and I don't know. He said once he gets to the NBA, he'll be glad to have the handcuffs off. So will he be a better NBA player than he was a college player?
I don't think so. I think he'll occupy the exact same role in the NBA.
Okay.
If you see what I saw in college, I mean, he had defensively he was very similar to Anthony Black. He had a 7'2" wingspan, and crazy defensive versatility.
Yes.
Great instincts. Would get steals at the right time. Would be in the right spot to take the charge. He was a savant defensively, but offensively he struggled to dribble. He had good form, but like the results were the results. I think he shot like 30% from three. He struggled to shoot the ball. He struggled to dribble the ball, and he had the right idea when it came to passing. Like he would see something, but he would see it a bit late, and he would turn the ball over too much. Offensively, there's a lot of that I would he left a lot to be wanting.
Do you think you think he has the potential to improve his offensive game?
Yeah, he absolutely can improve it, but he didn't demonstrate anything in that year at Arkansas that would encourage me. There's a reason he's not going to go in the top 30 picks in the NBA draft. With someone with his athleticism and his defensive ability, you would expect a little bit more from that.
JJ, we can't go through every player in the SEC, but I want to do one more, and then I want to move to the Big Ten.
Okay.
Oscar Tshiebwe from Kentucky. He's projected to be 54th pick.
Yeah, by the Celtics, I think.
Sacramento. So what? He was the college player of the year the season before, not last season, but the previous season.
Yeah.
How will he perform in the NBA?
He'll perform the same way that the player of the year from Iowa, Luka Garza, performed in the NBA at the end of the day. Like he'll get every time he gets on the floor. He will be called out. He will be put into a pick and roll, and they'll put a guard on him and get him in space, and they'll exploit him time and time again. That's why he had to come back after winning the player of the year.
Okay.
The last player that actually came back after winning the player of the year was Tyler Hansbrough in I think 2008. That should tell you.
Okay, but there is money in college game these days. Look at Hunter Dickinson.
There's more money when you're an American and you're able to earn the NIL on American soil, which Oscar was not able to do. He had to go to Jamaica and Canada.
Oh, that's true.
There's that added difficulty.
Okay, let's go to the Big Ten. And I just mentioned Hunter Dickinson. Let's talk about Michigan.
Yeah.
They got I'm looking here. I see Kobe Buffin picked to be 13th pick. I see Jed Howard picked to be the 20th pick. A couple of first rounder pick there by Michigan. Are you surprised?
Yeah, you couple that with a player like Hunter Dickinson, and you kind of wonder how they didn't even make an NCAA tournament.
Yes, you do.
But yeah, I really like Kobe Buffkin. He's a lefty, 6'5" lefty. He's as young as everybody, all the freshmen this year.
Okay.
John Beilein always was known for going after guys that are a little bit younger. Karis LeVert, guys that are a little bit younger for the grades, so they could develop up a little bit.
Okay.
And that's something that really happened with Kobe Buffkin. I really, really, really like him. I think he's going to be a lottery pick. I think he can just score. I think he can score in all three phases. I think he can get to the rim. I think he's really good at a lot of different things. So I think I really like him. like as a Pistons fan, like I want to figure out a way that we could somehow move up and get him, or move back and get him and I really like Kobe Buffkin. Now Jet Howard, he reminds me more of like just a catch and shoot guy, like Rashard Lewis with less defensive ability. Like he was rated as the worst defensive player of any Power 5 defender, I think, per advanced
Do they
stats.
play defense in the NBA?
Oh yes,
They do.
If you watch, you will know exactly how much they have to play
I
defense.
thought the
Especially,
NBA specialized in the jumper and the pick and roll.
yeah. I mean, if you're a savant on offense, you don't have to play defense. Jet Howard is not that. He's a great shooter. I
Okay.
mean, he will be able to get a shot off. I like him at the next level, but I don't like him as much as Kobe Buffkin.
You know who Jet Howard reminded me of?
Who's your Joe?
A guy who was from Arkansas. Arkansas did their best to get him to stay there. He ended up going to Kentucky.
Malik Monk.
He reminds me of him a little bit.
Malik Monk is 6'1". That's I mean, their shot selection reminds me of one another. But you have one guy that's 6'8" and one guy 6'1".
They're playing. Their offensive playing style remind me of each other. Jet loved to take that outside jumper.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. But Malik Monk is somehow a better defender than Jet Howard. Jet Howard is that bad defensively.
Okay.
But you know what? I do like that comparison. You don't see like that too often. Like that's I mean, you know what? Like I can see it. I absolutely can see it.
I said something to agree with. Y'all heard it. I'm glad you agree with me on that one, JJ. JJ, Indiana got 2 potential first round picks as well.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hood-Schifino for sure, the freshman. I think he's gonna absolutely.
He's the guard. Yeah.
He's gonna go for in the first round.
He's
sure.
picked like a 14th pick right now to New
Yeah,
Orleans.
the former McDonald's All-American. I think he's going to do that. Now, Trace Jackson Davis, I'm a little
Predicted
less.
to be the 23rd pick in the draft.
I could see him falling. He's 4 years. Was he 22, 23?
He had a great college season.
He had a great college season, but he can't shoot from 3, and he's 6'8". I mean, so what can you do with him on offense?
So JJ, how would you compare this year's draft? If you took out the number 1 pick, who's like the guy from France who's dominating the draft, if you took him out, how would you classify this draft? Good, bad, average, above average, below average?
I think he's a above average draft. I think either Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson would be a worthy number 1 pick in any other league, any other year draft. Now, for me, I didn't watch any Overtime Elite or G League.
Right.
And there's a lot of prospects in the top 5, top 10 that are from those arenas. So I mean that's and then you have like a couple of French guys. You have Victor Wembanyama.
True, yeah.
There's another guy that's supposed to be like a wing that's supposed to a 6'7" guy from France supposed to go in the top 10. So there's a lot of international and there's a lot of non-conventional, non-collegiate talent. It's not like the year where you have like R.J. Barrett, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, where the top guys were all Americans that you'd seen. So that's the problem. That's what makes it so difficult to assess. But I think it's a very talented draft.
Okay. I tend to agree. And they loaded with Arkansas players.
Yeah.
Hey, but JJ,
Arkansas and Michigan is not gonna. They're gonna be well represented.
and next year Michigan State will have players in that draft.
You know
They,
what?
they are loaded.
I agree.
JJ, I want to ask you a quick question. Since we're doing this from the state of Michigan, the Pistons,
Yeah, the Pistons.
they got the 5th pick.
Unfortunately, they had the worst record, but they only got the 5th pick.
And they're projected here, they're saying that who's going to go to the Pistons? I'm looking here, and I see Cam Whitmore, Villanova,
Yeah,
forward,
yeah,
6'7".
yeah. The freshman.
Will that be a good pick for the Pistons?
Yeah, that would be in line with their philosophy. Their general manager generally prefers players that are super athletic and have really long wingspan, things of that nature. So that would be in line with that. Okay. I think that would be a good pick. I wouldn't be upset at it, but I mean, I'm just really upset with the selection. Like I would rather not be picking 5th. It's a 3-player draft, and we're picking 5th. So
Okay.
win some, you lose some.
Let me ask you this really quickly. Nick Smith Jr.
Nick Smith Jr.
So highly talented out of high school and before the injuries in Arkansas. Will he get back to his projections once he get into the NBA?
Yeah, I think he fits in better with the NBA game. I think
So
I think he was a focal point on defenses in ways that he will not be in the NBA. I think he'll play better in open space. I really do think his court vision is underrated. I think he'll be able to display that.
So if he goes, according to the NBADraft.com, if he goes 18th to Miami, Miami got a steal.
Oh yeah, especially in Miami. I mean, it's not just about the player; it's also about the system and the fit. And I think Miami would make that work in a way.
Okay.
I mean, if it's going to work at all in the NBA, they'd make it work to the best.
Will he hang around to the 18th draft, the 18th pick?
I would be surprised unless there's something wrong with his medical situation. I'd be surprised if he didn't go in the top 15 picks.
I am too. I don't think he'll hang around to the 18th. But if he does hang around to the 18th, I think it's a steal for him. JJ, we could talk. There's a lot more draft stuff we can talk about. I don't know if you want to focus more on the draft or you want to hit a different note real quick.
No, we're gonna get out of here pretty soon. I will just say Chris Murray from Iowa, the brother of Keegan Murray. I like him a lot. And honestly, I
He's
think
a first round pick projected.
I do think he's a first round pick. Honestly, I like it when guys like get brothers. I wouldn't be mad to see Sacramento get him on the team, but with his brother,
Play with his brother.
he can play the 4. He can play the small ball 4 with Keegan Murray play the 3. I like that.
Well, he's projected to go to Golden State as the 19th pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good pickup too. That's another system that I think really knows how to develop their players.
Okay.
Other than that, I guess we'll just finish it on the note of Bob Huggins. I know he's more of a Big 12 guy. He goes at Cincinnati, Kansas State, and West Virginia, which are all Big 12 schools now.
Yeah. So what's new about Bob Huggins?
Well,
Huggy Bear.
after hearing about how he was gonna serve a suspension for his inappropriate comments on a radio show in Cincinnati.
Cost him
earlier this
$1 million.
Cost him $1 million.
$1 million.
A little bit later than that, this past weekend, he was arrested for driving a .21 blood alcohol content. Which,
What about?
Well, see, he thought he was in Columbus, Ohio, but
You mean he wasn't?
he said he was in Columbus, Ohio. Unfortunately, it was the Pittsburgh police that stopped him in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So he didn't know how he got there. He said that he was last sight of Wendy's or something like that, but the receipt was from 7 hours beforehand. So he it was an extreme DUI situation. He's 69 years old. You hate for someone's career to end like that, but
So as I saw a headline that says his relationship with alcohol ended his career.
yeah, I bet his relationship with alcohol had something to do with his comments earlier in the.
Oh, that's interesting.
I bet alcohol played a part as well. I mean, this is not his first DUI, as we know. What
Correct.
happened,
About 15 some years ago, he had one in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and that ended his time in there.
To get out of here, JJ, you mentioned Bob Huggins. Potential replacement. You brought up his name earlier. They were talking about Beeline. Not Beeline, Beeline.
John Beeline.
Yeah. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, that would be a nice full circle redemption story for him to go home and lead them to
Go back to where he left.
Yeah, he wants to have a major job. I think West Virginia might not be a major enough job for him. And the Big 12 is a very hard conference now. But
Really? It wouldn't be
added-
a major enough job for him.
I don't know. I mean,
At his age, JJ?
it's hard to recruit West Virginia. I mean, Bob. I mean, I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, you're adding in Houston. You got, they're firing at all cylinders. Cincinnati is a better job, I think. All time.
You're losing Texas.
You do lose Texas, but BYU is pretty solid. UCF is nothing, but
Thursday, JJ. What do I have to say to America about Thursday?
you tell me. What do you have to say?
Go Pig Suey. WPS. Go Pig Suey Thursday. What you got to say?
Go Blue, I guess.
Go Blue versus Go Pigs. Are we out of here? We got more?
I mean, I'm done if you are.
Well, let's end it now on that WPS.
All right, my home court.
Your home court. See you next time. All right, we out of here.